Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger, and my friends, we're here again to talk the Street Fighter 6 patch. The patch that some people thought was going to be a small patch, and well, it was certainly a very large one. We've already covered on the channel. We got the big video that's over an hour long. We went through everything, right? And in this video, I want to now talk about the winners and losers of the patch. It was a big patch. Every single character got affected some way. Some obviously, fairly minor. Some, I would say, much more major. And some people got, nerfed. But how big were the nerfs really, right? So I want to talk winners and losers. And I want to preface this before we even get into it here. To be a winner in a patch doesn't necessarily mean you even got buffed. To be a loser, you can still get buffed and be a loser, in my opinion. It's not always cut and dry as buff equal always better, especially in the grander meta of things. Like let's put it out there right now. Ken Masters. Ken got nerfed. Absolutely. And the things that got nerfed are not nothing, right? It takes away some of his pressure and his ability to turn the tables on a matchup. But is he a loser? No, he's not a loser of this patch. Ken will remain near the top of the pecking order. Call it for what it is. Ken is still an amazing character, and these nerfs really do nothing in the long run. Is he still going to help run the show for a long time to come, right? Other characters like Bison and Akuma, their nerfs a little bit more tasty, I guess. But in the reality is they're still just absolutely among the absolute best characters in the game. The nerfs are not going to do too much long term. So just because they're nerfed doesn't mean they're necessarily losers. But that said, speaking of nerfs, let's talk about our first winner. So Rashid is absolutely a winner of this patch. Did he get nerfed? Technically. But slap on the wrist, that's too strong of a term. He basically got away with murder. Some of the other characters that got nerfed that were stronger, once again, I still think Akuma and Bison, they're still gonna be plenty strong, right? But their nerfs, at least you could feel it a little bit. What really got nerfed for Rashid? I guess run into level 3 or something like that will do a little bit less damage. It doesn't go away. The opportunity's still there. It just will hurt a bit less. Like Ken, he'll have a little bit less advantage on reversal situations, either EX spinner or Rashid super kick. Sure, but realistically, everything that makes Rashid great is 100% intact. None of this actually matters. So when it comes to the top tier villains getting nerfed, Rashid basically didn't effectively. Here, to put a really fine point on it, here's his biggest nerf. So Honda is now the only character in the game that can, from full screen or anywhere on the screen really, just punish him for going into raw level 2, as long as Honda has a level 2. Before, Honda could do it, get one hit in, then he'd get hit by the tornado. Now Honda can do it wherever. Don't get me wrong, Rashid still runs away with this matchup, but the fact that someone dares to fight back against a level 2. Someone has the temerity to rise up against Lord Rashid's evil regime, right? That's it. Rashid got away with murder. He's doing great. We'll see what happens in the Season 3 patch, I guess. Terry got some stuff of substance. One of the big ones, a big one to me especially, Stand Heavy Punch is now +1 on block for -1. I was already a very big booster of this move. I already thought this move was fantastic for what it was at -1. Because -1, big pushback, sure. And also the fact that 2 hits, it's just one of the most easily hit confirmable moves in the game and the decent damage. And they made the buffer window bigger on this too, by the way. So literally it's even easier now to get whatever super or special, whatever cancel you want to do. Now if you see it get hit confirmed, awesome. But now at +1, at bare minimum, it leaves you in range to get checked by Stand Light Kick. That's great. 2, a Drive Rush version is now +5, used to be +3. +5's a pretty good number to be. +5 means, you're really setting the tone for how things are going to start working here. Not the least of which, Ground Wave, heavy version of Power Wave. So they made it 2 overall frames shorter from start to finish, right? So that means something like this. Now, if you were to do so, right, the gap is much smaller. Anytime you want to just sneak it in to see what happens, you can just sneak it in 2 frames faster. Also on block, heavy Drive Rush into Round Wave, that does 1.25 drive gauge bars of damage. because the drive gauge damage on this also got buffed on top of the frames being faster, and the frames being faster also give you more combo ability. Something like this, straight up, did not work before the patch. Something like this did not work before the patch. Something like this didn't work before. Like, there's so many more routes and so many more possibilities thanks to this being 2 frames overall quicker. Like, it's a big actual deal. And hey, like Rashid, escaping nerfs, right? If he did EX Rising Tackle, even with you back rolling, plus 27, and it leaves you in range to get hit by a meaty burn knuckle, heavy burn knuckle. If you got reversed on, like, yo, I'm still gonna hit you deep into the active frames. I'm still gonna be plus in your face, plus 2. Good number to be in your face, right? And then basically, if anything short of like your perfect parry game is not on point, tough luck, right? Even if you parry it, I don't care. I'll take the parry for plus 2 in your face. Like, so Terry didn't get that taken away from him where it did get taken away from some other characters. So, like, I'm not gonna say like he's top 1 or nothing, right? But like, these buffs are substantive. Like, they're really nice. Now, speaking of nice and substantive buffs, yo, Ryu. Now, I'm not gonna be like some people. Like, people are now saying Ryu top 1 shoulder with a bullet. I don't know about that. I don't think he's replacing Ken in the end overall, but I do think we'll have more Ryus in the end. So, like, one, yo, the 40-year-old classic, like, if you're 40 years old, that's your favorite change. The fact that crouch medium kick into fireball now just works with, like, basically 0 consequence. If you do heavy fireball, the scapless, it's always guaranteed to work. If, you know, it's really all you care about is the classic style Street Fighter footsies, it's just strictly better because it's always safe from any reversal. And if you choose to go for, like, lighter or medium fireball because you expect it to get blocked and it's one better frame advantage, now if like a DI comes, you can DI back. Like, it's just better. Great. Obviously, the donkey kick change is also really nice. So it's 2 frames faster startup. The overall recovery of the move, like the overall time of the move, is now 50 frames instead of 53. So it recovers quicker. It's better on block. And given the ranges you would use it after you're using a neutral, then you're going to hit later in the active frames, meaning it's effectively neutral and blocking 99% of the time. Like, nothing's really going to happen. They buffed the damage if you block it. Like, it now deals a full drive gauge damage on block. You can't afford to just block this move because you will feel it. Now combos from a few new things like counter hit stand heavy punch. And it was always great in combos to begin with because obviously you created a juggle state and you can just do whatever magic from there. So, like, solid move, better, great. Obviously, the really sexy change is forward heavy kick. Now that can go into just a regular hurricane kick. You don't necessarily have to burn bar from it. And it combos in situations that it straight up did not combo from before, meaning Ryu gets all new combo routes. All these changes, great, solid, all back to back. Like, this is the definition of a winner. Is he top 1 again, just like Terry? No, he's not going to be top 1 or nothing. But his quality of life, it's not just little buffs, it's way better. He is eating good in this patch. Now, hey, speaking of eating good, let's talk about a man who knows how to eat here, Honda. So, in the past, like, my heart's on Honda. Like, I'll be the first to admit it, right? I see anything Honda buff, I just go crazy. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, when we had the Season 2 changes, they were strong. Like, they gave him that buff stand medium punch. That like, Honda's stand medium punch, I would argue is a top 5 normal in this game. So, like, that was great. But he got hurt so bad because of the headbutt changes. Because headbutt was a big part of his game, not just, like, get headbutt, but the fact that on block, he was just far back enough that you couldn't do much, and if he dared hit a button, he could really blow you up for hitting a button. And he lost that. So, he gained stuff, but he lost the spacing trap, which was a huge part of the game. And now, thanks to the buffs to stance punches, he's got his spacing traps back again. Like, you can't reliably, as long as you space it correctly, just necessarily hit him back with a quick jab. Like, you have to respect the fact you might just walk back and smack whatever you toss out. So the biggest thing he lost in the original Season 2 patch, he now got back in a different form, yes, but it is there. And given that it is on a move that has no charge, this also varies up his neutral. Granted, after Season 2 patch, his neutral is just mostly hit stand medium punch, right? But this hits from further away than stand medium punch, so that's something. It gives him a varied game plan, because the Season 2 version of Honda is an incredibly simplistic character. He really only wants to go for a couple things. And just having a little bit more depth of the game plan along with getting the classic spacing traps back, is strong. You will absolutely regret just trying to hit buttons after the fact. So that makes Honda scary again, and that's good. And of course, stance slaps has more range, has more pushback, which is what enabled this, right? But stance slaps EX version now has less pushback and is a more advantage on block, which means if you block this stuff, he now has a true 50-50 of, yo, you better guess strike, or you just better guess throw, because his command grab also got shortened to 6 frames. So that's good as well, because it lets him punish drive reversals, which he couldn't do before. To any real extent, he'd get like tiddlywinks damage. Now he gets big boy damage. Because now if he blocks this stuff, he's going to get 3k for it if he wants to burn a bar. Like, that's good damage. And of course, there is the quality of life stuff, like stand heavy punch now goes into stance launch without the need of having to burn bar. So effectively, a lot of his core B&B combos, you'll just basically just get, you know, a couple hundred more points of damage. That's not that big of a deal. It's nice, don't get me wrong. But you just do a little bit more damage on combos you were going to do anyways. It's okay. And of course, there's the fact that level 2 super just actually works against Rashid now when it didn't before is nice. It's still honestly not great. It should be a couple frames faster because it still can't punish a lot of fireballs on reaction. But baby steps. Long story short though, Honda got back an important tool of his game plan he lost. That's kind of the biggest thing. And also in doing so, gave him a new tool to work with. And that tool is more varied because if you want to burn bar, if you get blocked, he now gets a 50-50, like just proper old school. Yo, you're in the blender now. Am I going to throw you or am I going to hit you? Figure it out real fast. That's really nice. That's quality, especially because it's a natural combo from stand medium punch anyways. So like if I get it, okay, sure, whatever. I'll take my, 20%. And if not, well then, okay, at mix, we'll figure out how it's going to go. So I don't think Honda's going way up the tier list either. A lot of these characters, even if they're winners, they're not going up the tier list big time. But this is very nice. Once again, I don't want to oversell it because I always oversell Honda stuff, and I'm so sorry. I just, my heart's here. I love the big man. But these are real changes. Kimberly, another character, like the changes are real. Now, Kimberly, admittedly, me personally, when I first saw the patch notes on Kimberly, I'm like, oh, all right. It wasn't till some time went by that I got a real appreciation. Like a couple things, like, okay, this is +4 instead of like whatever. Like that didn't matter too much to me, right? What matters much to me is someone who likes big buttons. Stand heavy punch got a sizable range increase. It now goes about like 20% further, not hard math, I'm sorry, but it goes about 20% further than it did before. This is already one of her major buttons. This is like one of her main ways to punish counter people, and then, get combos from it, all that, and just giving it more blunt, raw range is a big deal. That means in the old footsie war, you're just going to be hitting from further away. If you hit from further away, it becomes a more valuable whiff punish tool, or just toss it out and see what happens. Let's roll the dice, right? Also on punish counter, given that it just has a little bit more range, it enables a few fun new tricks. Like say we get the punch counter up close, right? And of course, naturally, you can go in like roundhouse. If you delay roundhouse just a little bit so it hits later in the active frames, normally it's +7, right? If you just hit a little bit later in the active frames, it's +9, meaning this is now a 3-hit combo. That's a tasty little route to go with, right? So not only is it to move blunt force raw stronger, there's new combo opportunities. Like I'm no Kimberly main, you guys can figure this out better than me, but there's new stuff to play with. Like that combo, there is an element of manual timing. It's not just auto timed, but 3 fears is back to back to back. The way the game works, you want to get all your heavy damage up front before the scaling kicks in, right? That's nice. Speaking of nice, like that slide change. Slide kind of sucked in my opinion, right? At least before this patch, because if you did it, and it's honestly to me a little bit difficult to get it later in the active frames like you like. If you did it and you hit, you could be negative. And heaven forfend, like you get blocked, right? It was -9, so people could just basically do their best combo to you, -9 point blank, right? Now, -5, they'll get like a jab combo. Like it'll still hurt, but it's not gonna be guaranteed death. So if you're not immaculate on your spacing, the fact it's always +1 at a minimum now versus negative on hit, depending on your spacing, The fact that it's less death on block. The fact that, like, say you did drive reverse, sliding you got blocked, right? That was still punishable. Now it's -1. You're like, I guess you lost your turn point blank, but like at least you're not going to get blown up for it. Obviously, quality of life 2, like forward heavy kick now just hits from much further away. Did not hit from round start before, and now it can even hit from like a little bit further than round start. So just as the neutral skip proposition, it's literally just better at that. And of course, the run. Regular run and EX run are both 2 frames faster, meaning if people are prone to mash buttons to like whatever off run, it literally doesn't work anymore. Before, if I did medium punch into run, I get stuffed. Done. Now, no 4-framers beating it. And EX is even tighter, yeah, right? So now the run mix matrix, I guess you want to call it that, is much more real because you're not allowed just to press against it. Because if you do, at bare minimum, you get hit. Boom, dive kick, right? Sure. And then, of course, once people just accept it, then all of a sudden the overhead comes back into play. You can slide, like all the various high-low gimmicks come back into play. And of course, like run, stop, throw, like the second people aren't allowed to press against it, now they got to respect it. It opens up all the other options. And there's other changes too. I didn't fully appreciate the time of the patch going live. Since like quarter circle forward light is now -4 instead of -5, that means it's neutral and burnout. And if you space it correctly at the range you should be using it at, and hopefully I can do this. There we go. It's now +2, right? So that's not nothing either. Like there's a lot of little quality of life buffs, but Kim got enough just thrown her way that I think this will work. And I think she could probably be like a reliable mid-tier pick now. Hopefully, anyways, time will tell. But I believe in these changes. So now Marisa, not winner necessarily. I just want to give an honorable mention. She got a lot of buffs, right? And the reason why I don't think she's an outright winner, because even though she got a lot of buffs, and the buffs are not nothing, they don't tip the scale too much. Like to me, her biggest changes are the fact that the big charge moves are just faster. That works out great. And you know what? It even opens up new opportunities. Like say we go for the big old launcher, charge heavy punch, now connects, right? And that is good. Bare minimum, new combo routes. Also new Oki, because we do this here, do that, jump, boom, +2 in their face, even after a back roll. And if we're +2 in their face, guess strike, guess throw. That's how it works. Like before, some of the old Oki was you did nothing, empty jump, medium kick, hit meaty. And then if that hit meaty, it's +7. Then we can go into like target combo out. And if it was blocked, then it was still +1, right? So now you're even closer, you're +2, and you don't have to give up a hit after the fact. So like that kind of Oki is strictly better. That's strong. And I'm a very big fan of the forward heavy kick buff because while the numbers are the same, they're now much closer and in throw distance. But the thing is, like, her weaknesses are still her weaknesses. She didn't gain anything really on that front. And nothing actually changes gameplay-wise. Like, Marisa is still doing the exact same thing she did before. A few frames better on some important moves you're gonna be doing anyways. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to undersell that. That is strong. But it's basically Marisa just a little bit shinier in the end, right? There's no new actual tools. There's some new Oki, like as I showed. There's some new things. Like, hey, let's go back to this example again. Full charge crouch heavy kick is now +46. Used to be +43, which means we have basically like a new version of knee Oki. Like, you can't do anything against it. You can't press buttons against it. You gotta accept it. +1 in their face. That's nice. There's gonna be a lot of new variations of Oki going forward. But Marisa's kind of the same old Marisa. Like, I've cooled down. When I just took in the patches initially, I'm like, she's the clear winner of the patch. Absolutely. But now I take a step back. Still good. Don't get me wrong. But compared to like how life-changing some of the buffs are for like Terry, Ryu, or Honda, like she's just not in that same club. But I do want to give her her flowers on this. Now Ed got hit with a hammer in the way the other top tiers just didn't. Like, not to say they didn't get their nerfs, but he just got bigger ones and more. Like, say, versus Cammy. Cammy got the crouch medium punch nerf, which is not nothing. But Ed got the crouch light kick nerf, the crouch medium kick nerf, and the stand medium kick nerf. Like, he's getting hit on a lot of buttons. Cammy still has a lot of really strong buttons. Those other ones didn't get touched. She still has an amazing stand, medium kick, crouch, medium, like all that, right? Ed got hit multiple fronts on that. And these are not nothing. Like, if you whiff these, even humble old Ryu can take a step forward and just like hit stand, medium kick, and whiff punish some of these buttons that you just couldn't touch before. So having the hurt box extended on these, having the fact that they're whiff punishable for longer is very big. Like, they're still dominant buttons, don't get me wrong. Like, the majority of the cast would kill for something like Ed's stand medium kick, right? Or his crouch medium kick. Like, these are still great, even still somewhat overwhelming buttons, I would say, right? But if you're on the ball, the fact that there's more recovery frames, the fact that the hurt box is extended during those recovery frames, it means when you're done your shift at work, okay, let's play some Street Fighter, right? Even you, the everyday working man, can see this. Oh, walk forward, get a punish, even on the most boring of characters, right? You still gotta be on the ball a bit, but it's now like in the realm of the common man to deal with like these nonsense moves. And that's a big nerf to Ed. And of course, Flicker. So Flicker, the hurt box at the start of Flicker got expanded, so it's easier to stuff him out of it. It's still a very strong move. And Flicker, backdash, holding Flicker and going out in the kill rush stance. The hurt box on that has been pretty dramatically upgraded. It means if you see that stuff, like if you drive rush, you can catch him. Like in situations that would have absolutely whiffed before. Like, he's just fatter now while he's backdashing. So drive rush might not always be the answer. Depends on character to character, but some characters have better tools that move forward faster. If you just catch him doing the thing, theoretically, most of the cast should be able to like kind of deal with this easier in a way you couldn't before. Drive Impact's a good example, but character to character might be even better stuff yet. And of course, stuff like, you know, the old magic combos. While they're still going to remain pretty magic, at least since drive damage is done at the end of the move, the enemy gets to gain a little bit of drive bar before they get carried corner to corner, right? So Ed is still a good character, but maybe just the edge honed off him in a way a bit more than the other top tiers, so are not going to feel their nerfs as much. And far as I'm concerned, Lily is absolutely one of the losers of the patch. Is there new stuff? Sure, that combo didn't work mid-screen before, absolutely. But it's just not enough. It's just not enough. This keeps happening with Lily. Like, Lily is one of the most directionless, maybe the most directionless character in this game. I don't think they know what they want her to be. In theory, she is T-Hawk. Do the thing, Condor Spire. Sure. The problem is she's worse than T-Hawk. I love T-Hawk very much. And T-Hawk, as bad as he is in Street Fighter 4, is a better character than this. Because at bare minimum, he doesn't have to waste time doing a buff to get a Condor Spire that works. Like, always, they come buffing Lily, it's always like a weird buff that just like doesn't work with the reality of Street Fighter 6. Like, okay, that cool combo I showed you before doesn't work if they're crouching, because this only works if you hit him with like the last bit of light Tomahawk Buster, and that's never going to work on a crouching character, right? So now you have to be, well, did they crouch? Well, I guess we're boned. Got nothing for you, right? That's very, very frustrating. Once again, is she better off than what she was previously? Yes, but it just doesn't matter. Like, her more than any other character, I feel just needs like a rework. Like, just reconceptualize what this character is supposed to be. Once again, you are meant to be T-Hawk. You are not T-Hawk. You are worse than T-Hawk, who is already historically a bad character, and that just says a lot. Now, the last time I called Lily a loser of a patch, Chakotay won Combo Breaker with her, right? So Chakotay, maybe I'm buffing you. Go win the next tournament. I don't know. You know, people came to me, it's like, oh, turns out Lily's actually the best character in the game. No. Like, to me, as it stands now with this patch, right? Marisa got quality of life buffs. We have Honda got some really substantial buffs. Even Manon got like pretty all right stuff. Jamie, that one change with the drink and the drive bar is pretty all right. I think Lily is undisputably bottom one, the absolute worst character in the game. Directionless, aimless, hard to do everything. It lists her as like, if you go to character select, it says easy use, easy. If to play her at like an intermediate level, you have to put a lot more time and effort into her than like the majority of the cast. She's not easy. She's very unintuitive as a character, other than the idea of if you get a buff, a move gets better, right? Like, everything about Lily just needs to change. I don't know what it's got to be. Once again, just rework. If you copy and pasted Ultra Street Fighter 4 T-Hawk into this game and just made him work with Drive Meter somehow, he'd absolutely be a better character than Lily. And T-Hawk is bad in that game. So I don't know. All the buffs Lily gets are never buffs that she actually needs. She just needs something wildly different at this point. You know what? We've done this discussion before with Hawk, so let's talk about this. Give Lily a gun. Because short of getting a gun, I don't know what you do with this character anymore. And that's my thoughts on the patch. Once again, strong patch overall. I don't really think the tier list is going to shift that much though, realistically. Because the good characters, despite getting nerfs, are still good. The lesser characters, like, you know, your Hondas of the world, your Marisas of the world, like, they got some real stuff. And they will have a stronger go of it overall. But they're still not going to compete, you know? Honda's not all of a sudden going to take Ken's slot. Marisa's not going to suddenly take Cammy's slot. Now, Ryu might move up solidly a tier. We'll see. Terry, I think, might start going into that topper tier discussion as well. Because he was always had every tool you needed. And now he has just some more overwhelming tools, better combo routes, better pressure, like stuff that really matters. So we'll see on Terry. But overall, the game's still the game. And to get some real shakeups, whatever Super Street Fighter 6 is, that's what I think they'll call it, come Season 3, that's probably where the really big shakeups are going to be. Either that or Maya or Elena are completely broken and destroy the game. We'll find out. I know y'all got some comments of your own. What do you think about the patch? What do you like? What do you not like? Who do you think is just a little bit stronger than the rest? Hey, post in the comments below. But other than that, that is the end of the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Street Fighter.